All right, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is very exciting because I watched this guy online. He teaches people to communicate, and he's here. But we have a funny story leading up to that, though. Okay, let's go. See what I mean when there's a really long intro and nobody does anything? It's been going on like this for the past 3 years, and every time the music plays, we just look at each other. All right, then look away. Look at each other again. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, very interesting story, but before we get to that, let's welcome on the show, we have Vin.
Yay! Thank you for the one clap I got. There you go.
Well, there is a sound effect. There is a sound effect because you're not wearing headphones, so you can't hear the sound effect.
Okay.
There's like a mountain of people tuning in on.
A mountain of people. I love that.
But dude, thank you so much for coming on the show. And just before we begin, maybe a little bit of an introduction of yourself and what you do, so that like the people listening will know who you are.
Okay. Well, first of all, can I just say that Ginny does an incredible oat milk coffee.
Oh, thank you.
Like I'm from Australia.
Huh.
This is unbelievable.
Oh yes, Australians
like
are.
we are coffee snobs, man.
Yeah.
Like we judge you based on the coffee. And like, dude, this is a 9.
Thank you.
9.5 out of 10.
Cheers.
This is unbelievable coffee.
All right.
Yeah.
If an Australian says my coffee is good, I can open a cafe over here. That's good.
Dude, it's been better than most that I've had here. So
If my
quite
bus-
unbelievable.
If my current business crashes at the ground, at least I have a backup. But
yeah,
yes,
you do 100%, and I want to buy in if you do that.
So yes,
All right.
quick introduction about yourself.
Look, if I gave you the high level, I am ex-magician, studied accounting, and then dropped out final year, disappointed my parents severely. Then I was sold electronics during high school.
Oh.
And we can dabble into these if you want. Sold electronics during high school, and then dabbled in keynote speaking, and then now teach communication skills.
That's insane.
So that's like just a nice little sprinkle of a bit of everything.
That's like that's a little similar to what I did, but like especially when you mentioned the electronics part.
Oh, you did that too?
Yeah, I did. I kind of tried very, very hard. At one point in time when, we're dating ourselves right now. People will know our ages, but like you go back to, I think like if I'm not mistaken, about 2007, 2008, when pen drives were just the thing.
You mean USB drives?
Yeah, USB drives. Yeah.
Wow,
So they just
okay.
came out, and then like people were selling them, and they were really, really expensive, by the way. So like you have these wholesalers who are like asking agents like, "Hey, could you please help me sell my pen drives?" I'm not sure what brands they were, but obviously they were knockoffs because you got your SanDisks,
Yeah.
and then you had your Creative discs, and now that you have these from I'm not sure where, but like every time you sold one, you would get like a 20 ringgit commission or something like that. But obviously I did really badly. Otherwise, that would have been, kind of like my business. But Vin, funny story on how we both met. So even before we met, I think like about a year and a half ago, obviously before you sleep, you go online, you go on Instagram, you start scrolling Instagram, and Reels became a thing. Instagram started telling everybody, hey, check out Reels. Although we were a company that basically allowed you to post photos and put filters on your horrible photos to make them look good. Check out Reels because photos don't matter anymore. So content consumption was mainly on Instagram Reels, and I came across this particular video of this person telling about how you can basically be a little bit more confident when speaking to your clients, to a crowd, to an individual, and having multiple layers of questions so you basically meet your guests and give them more leg room to talk about themselves so you can kind of get a conversation going. And I looked at it, I was like, oh wow, this is cool. I never thought about that. And then fast forward to a year and a half later, while I'm still watching his videos, all of a sudden I get a DM from Vin and says like, brother, I'm a huge fan. I used to watch all of your videos. And I'm like, no freaking way. And I'm like, oh, okay. And like, all right, cool. Here you have a guy who has about 2.6 million followers messaging you something like that when you watch all of his videos, which was like really, really flattering. Like, whoa! Okay, cool. And we got to talking. And the next thing that blew me away was like, yeah, I have a Malaysian wife. I'm like, okay, great. Because, as of most Australians, they might have a Malaysian wife, high chance. And next thing you know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in Subang right now. I'm like, what the heck?
No, but specifically in USJ 9.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, my office is like literally right across where you stay right now. He's like, no way. So I was like, it's kind of weird, but sometimes like the world is so small and the universe kind of works its way in some way to kind of force the both of us to meet. So for that, thank you for coming on the show today.
Dude, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And dude, you're quite a legend right now, I feel, to a lot of people around the world. We caught up over lunch the other day, and you mentioned probably you've done stuff for Microsoft. You've spoken to a whole Microsoft crowd of 5,000 people, and obviously more. But to just kind of like summarize what it is you do to people right now, what would you say?
Look, I think I keep it really simple, and it's just teaching people how to connect with others.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you mentioned right in the beginning of this, the conversational threading, right?
Yeah.
And that's why when we started, I just gave you a quick sprinkle of the multiple things. And then we identified that we have a similarity. We have basically something in common, which was the selling tech stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I think when people meet each other, they say, oh, can you tell me a bit about yourself? Normally people just say, oh, I'm an accountant. They give one thing. Whereas I shared 5 things, and immediately we found one to connect on.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just sharing with people simple strategies to be able to connect, build confidence, and create more clarity when they communicate with other people.
What drove you to basically dabble into this, skill set and teaching people how to connect? Do you feel that people do not connect enough? Because sometimes I'm really anxious when it comes to going into a lift and you have a bunch of strangers and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll keep quiet.
No, but look, sometimes when you go into a lift with strangers, you should keep quiet too. Right? Because sometimes people genuinely don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that's okay. They might be having a bad day. They may not want to talk.
Yeah.
But it's for times when you do want to connect with someone. You're at a networking function and you do want to connect with that person because you know who they are.
Yeah.
You know that this friendship will be meaningful. You know this will help you with career advancement.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to have the skills to be able to have that conversation.
Yeah.
But back to your question, right? You said, what got me into it? What got me into it was me not being able to do this.
Oh.
And then seeing people when I was young who were able to do this and just being so envious of this person who could just walk into a room, talk to whoever they wanted.
Yep.
So I think it was my inability to communicate that led me to want to learn how to do it. And then what led me to teach it is the same thing, is that, man, I find that we tend to do the things in life that helped us the most.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever helped us when we were young, we tend to be doing it now.
Yeah.
We tend to be teaching it to others later.
Yeah.
I don't know. I find that to be a common thread.
How it's funny that you mentioned that, things that you love, you'll end up teaching people. But how long into that did you realize you could start teaching people and kind of turning this into some sort of like a business model or something?
I think we start teaching people the things we're passionate about from a very early stage. We just don't we just don't monetize it.
Yeah. True.
We just don't monetize it. Because teaching is a part of mastery.
Yeah.
So when you teach something, you get better at it.
Yeah, because
right?
You're constantly kind of going back and forth to the same thing.
Well, that's right. And you have to distill. So when you're teaching someone, you don't make it more complex, you make it simpler.
Mm-hmm.
And the process of distillation is you further and deepening your understanding of that very topic. Whereas I think Einstein says it, right? You have to be able to explain it to a 5-year-old. And I think what he means by that is a teacher who simplifies their knowledge is deepening their understanding of it. So I think teaching happens at all stages of what you're doing. Like one of your team members is a singer, right? He's a singer in a band.
Yes, he is.
I'm certain he's had conversation with other singers, teaching them how to improve their singing. And have you done that? Yeah, he has. He's nodding in the background, right? So I think what happens is we're always teaching because that's a part of the learning process.
Yeah.
It's just when you monetize it, for a lot of people, that's a weird transition.
Yeah.
Because they go, oh, should I be teaching now? Can I charge for it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, you can. At all stages, you can. We had this conversation over lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I shared with you. I think a lot of the times people go, oh, I need to wait till I'm at level 10. Let's use World of Warcraft as an example.
Yeah.
They cap out at level 70. They go, I got to wait till I'm at level 70 the final level before I teach people.
Yep.
It's not the case. Because let's say you're at level 2. There's lots of people at level 1 that need a level 2 teacher.
Yeah.
Because someone at level 1, if you met a level 70 teacher, that level 70 teacher will treat you like shit.
To be too advanced.
They'll be too advanced and be like, the questions you're asking me are so stupid.
Yeah.
Whereas a level 1 person needs a level 2 teacher.
Yeah.
A level 9 person needs a level 10 teacher. And they're often the best teachers for you because they just left the previous level.
Ah, interesting.
So I think that mindset helps a lot of people let go of that imposter syndrome. Even if you've just started, there's people who haven't started who need people like you who've just started to be able to teach them. So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind if you're starting to teach and you feel like a fraud.
Yeah.
The only way to get from level 2 to level 3 is, again, to find teachers at level 3, right? Because they're the optimal people to take you from level 2 to level 3.
Yeah. I like this conversation when we were on the way back. It's like, level 10, a level 9 is a level 10 teacher, and it doesn't mean that, you need to be a master before you start teaching everything, because like you got to teach everybody from square one.
And the teacher at level 10 teaching the person at level 9 still remembers what it's like.
Yeah.
And remembers the intricacies on how to move from level 9 to level 10. Whereas someone at level 70 has forgotten.
Yeah.
Because it's been 40 years since they were at level 9.
They'll probably have no patience and like, you want me to go back all the way to level 1 again? Okay, yeah, but...
Yeah, and that's when I talk about something I in my mind, say you have aspirational mentors and pragmatic mentors. And we spoke about this. And I think a lot of the times now people have a lot of aspirational mentors, but they don't have pragmatic mentors. And what that simply means is that an aspirational mentor is someone like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't go out and dig tunnels underground in Malaysia and build a car system underground. You can't do that. So it's good to have aspirational mentors because they're inspiring, but it's also important to have pragmatic mentors who are just one step ahead of you.
Right.
Right. So to your team member who's in a band, instead of looking at bands that have 50 million followers, instead of looking at BTS and all these different brands, look for bands that are just 1 to 2 steps ahead of you.
Yep.
Because when you connect with them, here's the crazy part. Because when you connect with bands that are just 1 to 2 steps ahead of you, they're more likely to reach back out to you, and there's more likely to be mutual value. Because there's more likely that you can add value to someone in level 10 when you're at level 9, as opposed to you reaching out to someone at level 50. Chances are you can't add that much value to them. There's no mutual benefit. So there's so many benefits there. There's just... So I think have aspirational mentors. It's important to be inspired, but then also have pragmatic mentors.
Okay.
Mentors that can tell you, oh yeah, do this thing on Instagram right now. Oh, connect with this other musician, in Subang, or So I think there's lots of benefits to have those 2 categories of mentors.
Right. And then versus what you do now, and rewind back to what you mentioned earlier on to how you went to uni to study accounting and then do a bit of tech sale, a bit of selling and stuff like that. Rewind back then.
Okay.
Did you take accounting because your parents wanted you to be like the straight A Asian student that either takes accounting and finance, or be an engineer, or be a doctor and stuff like that? Because those were all my friends. I went to Australia to study. Most of my friends who were smart were doing accounting and finance, and I'm not so smart, was doing marketing. Okay, I'm not gonna put down marketing over here because my business right now revolves around marketing, and trust me, marketing makes a lot of money. But like back then, did you what did you want to become back then versus who you are now?
I didn't know. I just picked accounting because it was safe.
I see.
And it was something that my friends and my family would look at it as being, oh, good job, son. You got into one of the prophecy, the Asian prophecy, right? You kind of you're following that accounting path. So I didn't know. I mean, I don't think anyone at 18 knows what they're going to do. I think it's really rare to find an 18-year-old that knows exactly what they want. I think that's actually really rare. So I didn't know. I was still working it out. So I just picked one that felt safe.
So right now, considering in your life, in your career, in your lifespan, your career, so where you are right now, I would say like level 50. But if you would go back to yourself at 18 years old, at that point of time would be a level 1. What would you tell yourself now?
Very kind of you to think I'm at level 1. I think I was at level minus 50. Yeah, dude. Because I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'd rock up at university.
You probably, maybe if you met yourself when you were 18.
Yeah.
and and as an 18-year-old, say, look, I don't know what I want to do, because you see, there's most Asian kids, or actually, I'm not gonna say Asian kids. There's most kids in general. They go to university. They don't know what they want to do. The only thing that they know that they need to do is to get a job that pays well. All right, and back then it was very easy to kind of like narrow down what career path that'll make you a lot of money. You'd be a pilot, you'd be a doctor, or you'd be a lawyer, or you'd be an architect, or everything. So like, what would you say to yourself right now? Because most of the time everyone's confused. How would you kind of help these people plan out their sort of career path or potential career path?
This was something my dad taught me.
Mm-hmm.
My dad asked me this question where he goes, how do you know what your favorite food is?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So my favorite food right now, I love this, is satay chalup. Right. That's the shit.
Did you go to Malacca?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
I went to Malacca to have
just
satay
in
chalup.
case.
And I
had to make sure just in case.
Bro,
Singapore had the best satay chalup. So you
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's Malaysian satay chalup, hands down. So when I was and I had satay chalup back in the day when it was communal. Mm-hmm. Okay, you don't get your own, bro. You're sitting there with other people who've ate there before, and then they just reheat it, and you go and you eat it, man. Like, gave me diarrhea for days, but I love it. I don't care. I'll pay the price. But the thing is, I only discovered satay chalup when I was 29. Okay, and the only way I discovered that food, because it kind of looked disgusting to me at the start. Okay, because I was like, oh man, those people just dip their things in it, and I'm going to dip my stuff in it. I don't know if I want to eat that. So I took a risk.
Yeah.
So I took a risk and I tried it, and dude, I love it. So back to what my dad said. How do you find out what your favorite food is? Well, you have to try a shitload of foods.
Yeah.
And there are going to be things that look disgusting, and you're going to think that it tastes bad, but when you try it, you're going to love it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what happens with the younger generation, and I feel like an old man saying this, but I feel like it's not just the younger generation now. This is all young people. I think this is what tends to happen. We judge something before trying it.
Yeah.
So you look at it and you go, no, I don't think I will like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have just passed up something that you would have loved.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way I found satay chalup is I've tried a ton of shitty foods. I've tried, like, I think it was lamb brains, and it was disgusting.
Oh.
I was in Southern California, and this restaurant goes, try this, it's really nice. And they didn't tell me what it was. I ate it. It tasted disgusting. And then they told me, and I nearly gagged.
Oh.
But the only way I find that you're able to find your favorite anything is if you try a ton of different things. So my advice would be simple to myself when I was young.
Yeah.
Is don't be so obsessed about making a ton of money straight away.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so obsessed about winning over your peers and having them think you're cool because you're a doctor, you're an accountant, you're a lawyer. Give yourself permission to just try as many different things as possible and not be in a rush, man. Because the reality is, when I was 18, I was so in a rush to buy a Toyota Supra, and I wanted to get into whatever job I needed to get into to make $25,000 Australian to be able to buy that car, because I wanted every single person in my friendship group to think I was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reverse engineering that process. What will make me $25,000 the fastest so I can get a Supra, so that everyone will think I'm cool and I can get a girlfriend. I didn't value finding something you truly enjoyed. Well, when you do it, time melts away and bleeds away.
Yeah.
And you feel a sense of euphoria that most people have to turn to drugs and alcohol for, that you can actually find in a career path. I didn't know that it was impossible, man. Mm-hmm. So the closest thing to it was being cool to your friends and finding a girlfriend. Right. Well, I mean, those things are cool, but but it's not because you found something you love.
It's because like you I don't know. You consume too much media to think that those are the main goals in life that will make one person happy.
Yeah, but because you're someone who understands the beauty of doing something you love.
Yeah,
I think when you're 18, you don't. For me anyway, in my circle, there was no one that was doing that.
Yep.
So I had no idea that it was even possible. So I chased the wrong thing. And then by chasing the wrong thing, it means you stop yourself from trying a lot of things.
Right.
So I just think far out. Look at the world we live in now, Jin. It's crazy. People are making money from the most obscure things. There's a guy online that my wife follows where he teaches you how to do build your own worm farm.
What?
Like your own worm farm at home.
Yeah.
Dude, this guy's making millions of dollars a year just making videos in his backyard, teaching people how to start their own little worm farm.
Oh, wow.
It's so cool, man.
And I'm assuming that he probably sells like a starter kit. And
Starter kit, yeah, exactly right. You're exactly right.
wow.
And then he has his online course that teaches you how to manage it.
Yep.
He's got his own community on Facebook.
Oh,
he
wow.
does weekly Q&As. It's unbelievable, dude. It's a worm farm. And we have like 3 of those beginner sets at home.
Oh wow.
And we do it at home. My wife loves it. It's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm oh, okay. I'm assuming that guy, does he have like a lot of followers, or is not like
It's very small.
Very
It's like-
small.
Well, not so, excuse me. I think it's about 250,000 people online.
yeah, but it's his neat. He found his niche that basically are willing to invest into kind of like building
Being more
worm.
green and environmentally friendly.
So how are the worms at home since you're here for 10 days?
Yeah. No, my parents take care of them. They're in this little box. You can take them and we can just leave them at my parents' place.
Right.
Some of them, a lot of them have died because Australian summer is so hot.
Mm-hmm.
So during the summer, you have to get this wet blanket, put it on top, make sure they don't die.
Oh.
But yeah, we have unfortunately killed all the
I
worms.
remember summer in Australia having flies stick in your face, and no matter
it's
how hard you
messed
slap
up.
yourself, they're still there.
Yeah, but that's why you got the hats with the corks on them.
Oh really?
Have you not seen
no,
them?
I've not.
There's
Oh,
these hats where we stick strings and these corks on, the wine corks?
yeah.
You stick them on the end of the hats and then when you're talking, they move around, keep the fly off your face.
Oh, so that's
Brother.
the reason why you
You
wear
didn't know what
those.
that was for?
I thought it was a fashion statement.
Dude, it's not a fashion statement.
I thought it
It's
was
to
like
keep
this
the
Australian.
flies on.
Mate, yeah. You see this hat here? Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, you should get
Hey,
one for
that's
yourself.
pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be like 50 Aussie. Yeah, I'm like, what, mate? No,
I
okay.
want you to do the remainder of this podcast in an Australian
No,
accent.
cannot. The immigration will bar me from re-entry, but
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a really good Australian accent. That's fantastic.
so you teach people to connect.
Yeah.
So I'm
Well,
pretty
look,
sure.
it's the main reason why, but often people tend to think what I teach is I teach communication skills to help people be able to persuade and have more influence.
Yeah.
But there's a deeper reason. I think the only reason you're able to persuade and influence others is because they feel connected to you.
Yes.
So people don't see that middle step, which is invisible.
Yeah.
Often. It's a 3-step process.
So when you started teaching people to connect, obviously before you teach, you kind of have to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
What was it like? Were you a very outgoing person, or were you an people would look at you. You're probably they would judge you immediately. You're probably an extrovert. You're outspoken. You could go on stage. How was
Before?
before? Were you that? Was it easy for you to approach just about anyone to start up a conversation like how you did before?
No way, man. I think I was an extrovert when I was young, but I didn't have the confidence to be able to talk to people like this. Dude, there was a girl I liked when I was 13 years old. And I remember I liked her. Dude, I was so infatuated, man. But every day I went to school, because she would get dropped off early. So she would get dropped off at 8 o'clock in the morning. School doesn't start till 8:45. So I would get there at 7:55.
Oh, wow.
And then she'd always sit at the bench by herself. There was nobody else at school. It was just me and her.
Okay.
And I would sit on the other side of the bench, 4 to 5 meters away from her, and I wouldn't say a word to her. It was the most creepiest thing in the world, dude. And I just every now and then try to look at her without her looking at me. Then when she'd look at me, I'd look away straight away. She'd probably think I was going to kill her or something. And I would do that every single day of my 13-year-old life, and I never said a word to her.
Why? Because
Because I was so I had
Scared.
no self-confidence.
you were afraid of how she would kind of reject
Well, what was
you.
I going to say? I didn't even know what to say.
Hi, what's your Instagram?
Yeah, no, there was no Instagram at the time.
Instagram
There was no
back then.
Friendster. There was nothing.
Right.
There was ICQ, right? So I didn't know what to say. So I started from a point where low self-esteem, no self-confidence, and I like again I told you I learned how to teach. I had to learn communication skills because I didn't have any of those skills. No one taught me. The one day during the year, I don't know if you have this in Malaysia, but the one day during the year where you, I guess you get to practice your communication skills. Do you do presentation at school?
Yeah, we do.
You do like one thing a year, right? Where
Yeah,
you have to do
we're
an
like
oral presentation.
forced to do it. Or if it's not presentation, in high school, it's mainly, your talent times. You have to go, everybody is given a task to group together and go up and do a performance in front of the whole entire school.
Oh, you have to do a performance.
Yeah, it's more of like the year-end children's
Right,
day.
right,
It's either
okay.
you sing or you dance or you recite poetry or stuff like that. So actually, it's funny that we were talking about this. So when I was 5 years old, I saw a lot of people play music on stage. Piano kind of intrigued me, and I'm like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. And a lot of very famous artists, they play the piano and they sing. So my mom saw that and she's like, okay, I'm going to send you for piano class. But wait, I mean, I just like watching them. And it's like, no, you can't, why don't you go and do it? I remember I had 5 classes and I dropped out because I was afraid. Because on the 5th class, the teacher told me that, all right, you see this? Okay, you're going to be playing in front of about 1,000 people and that's your grading.
Wow.
And I freaked.
1,000 people?
Yeah, apparently, I think it's like 1,000 people, but most of them are probably there taking turns to go up on stage and play.
Yeah, still though, that's massive.
Yeah, it's like,
wow.
So she said that, and it freaked me out.
Yeah, dude. Of course.
Because I was so afraid that people were gonna laugh at me if I played the wrong note. Because it was an exam, and the thing is, the teachers were all gonna be there, and they're gonna be grading you according to your performance and how you play the notes and whatever not. And that's where I decided to just give up piano immediately. Wow. And if I revisit that time, I just wished the piano teacher would teach me how to kind of like, overcome my fears of a big crowd. Did you ever had that problem?
Oh yeah, dude, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't even talk to one girl at 8 a.m. in the morning. I could, of course I couldn't. Yeah. But I think this is a skill that we don't get taught.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get taught all of the technical abilities. We get taught mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology. But where do we get taught how to connect with another human being? You get left to work that out on your own in the schoolyard. So you're either naturally gifted at it or you just struggle your entire life. So like to me, I think it's really sad because a lot of my students now online, when they share with me their stories, I just kind of go, wow, that's so sad. It's just because you didn't get taught this skill. We get taught everything else. We just don't get taught how to talk to another person.
Do you think that this was supposed to be a skill set that was supposed to be taught by your parents? Because so for me right now, I'm kind of very extroverted. I think I can connect with people and I can have conversations.
You're fantastic at it, bro.
And I kind of tend to always teach my daughter to always go and say hi to friends. And it's like an encourage. So this is what I do with my daughters. And if they go to school and they see a friend over there, like for example, my daughter has a friend in school who is Korean, and he doesn't speak English that well. And I told her, you need to mix with him more, teach him English, encourage him so that you guys can be friends. And now they're friends.
Oh, dude.
And it's very cute because now that sort of is teaching my daughter Korean, and she comes back, she speaks Korean words to me, and I don't know what you're saying, but. And I think at a very young age, I brought her out and I started introducing her to every single person and let her kind of play with them and get comfortable with everyone. And now everybody just comes to me and say, oh my God, your daughter's so friendly, your daughter's so friendly. And for me, it's like, I'm really happy that it is like that because I was never like that when I was young. It's more like when I was younger, my mom was like, go say to uncle, go say to auntie, hey, respect. They're older than you, respect. That kind of thing, which is not wrong, but like for me, it's like then. And it's always when elders are talking, don't talk. You just sit there and you do your own thing. Read a book, go research how to become a doctor or an engineer and stuff like that. So I feel like now that you have people actually teaching everyone else how to connect, it's a great thing. But back then, I feel like the only people that were kind of there to teach you how to connect were your parents.
Well, I don't know if it's their responsibility.
Yeah,
hopefully they take on that responsibility.
Yeah, hopefully.
But the thing is, naturally as children, we model the people that we are inspired by.
Yeah.
So they will model you naturally. So if you didn't consciously teach them, they'll just watch what you do when you come into the office.
Oh, yeah.
They'll just watch what you do and then they'll model that because I love dad and I'm inspired by dad. Hopefully your kids love you. I hope they do. Because if they don't, they'll be sad. But again, I know they do. So what they'll do is they'll just model you. So what happens is, let's say, for example, we don't know when this lack of communication ability stems from, right?
Yeah.
I think it stemmed from the beginning of time. So let's say you are lucky enough to have a parent like you that is good at communication. A, you're modeling it for them. B, you're showing them. So they're going to be great communicators. Right. But there are many other families who the mum and dads have never learned how to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
So when they go into a social setting, they don't talk to anyone. So the kids see that and then they model that. They kind of go, oh, it's better to be quiet. It's safer. So I'm going to learn the same thing. Or when they see dad or mum interact with other people, they see, oh, mum and dad speak really quietly. So you know what? When I speak to other people, I'm going to speak really quietly too. So the bizarre thing that a lot of people don't realize is that the way you speak currently, it has been modeled for you by the people in your surrounding when you were growing up.
Yeah.
So as you were growing up, if you were inspired by mum and mum speaks really loud, then you're going to speak really loud.
Yeah.
Right? So the way you speak right now is just a series of behaviors that you've adopted based on the people you were inspired by.
Oh, that's very true.
And it's either benefiting you
Yep.
or it's crippling you.
Yep. Yep.
Whereas, and the sad part is what happens is most people just go, oh no, this is just the way I talk.
Mm.
Oh no. This is a series. It's like you putting your hands in your pocket, right? That's a behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You not talking is a behavior. You talking loud is a behavior. You talking quietly is a behavior. The way you talk is just a series of behaviors that you've become attached to.
Yep.
And now you call that you.
Ah.
Whereas it's actually not you. It's just a series of behaviors.
Yeah.
It's like when you play the guitar, when you first play the guitar, you're really bad at it. Is that you playing the guitar forever? No, that's just you while you're bad at it.
Yeah.
As you get better, as you get better with guitar, you can do the same thing with your voice. It's just that people don't look at it that way. They kind of go, no, that's me. And if I change the way I talk, I'm being fake. And I see this all the time happen in Malaysia, actually.
Mm-hmm.
When my wife comes back, because she lives in Australia,
Yeah.
she's got a bit more of the Australian accent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she can dial it up and she can dial it down.
Oh, wow.
But when we came back for the first time and she kind of had more of a Western accent, her friends were immediately mocking her, going, oh, you think you're better than us now, huh? Oh, look at you. You're like a Quaalude now.
Yeah.
And then then I notice her immediately switching back to full Malaysian,
Oh, wow.
right?
Okay.
Because we tend to want to sound the same as everybody else
Yeah.
so that we fit in.
Yes.
And sometimes that desire stops us from being able to stand out.
Mm.
Right. So yeah, there's lots of layers to this, man.
Yeah,
And
because what you mentioned just now is actually very relatable to Malaysians because like wherever we go, we kind of are like a chameleon. We kind of morph into that.
you do, yeah.
Yeah, is that a good thing or
I
is
think
that
it is.
it is a good thing?
Well, I think it's a good thing because, and some people will go, oh no, but that's not being authentic. I should be authentic at all times. I don't look at it that way, right? Because when you're in a Western country and if you've got a very thick Malaysian accent, you're not actually clear in your communication. It's harder for people to understand you, especially if they live in a predominantly Western world.
Yep.
And what that means is, and I think people are afraid to talk about this, is that you will lose influence in a predominantly Western environment. And I've seen this all the time, man. I've seen, like, I got a lot of clients in Asia, and every time I look at the senior leadership team,
Yep.
a lot of them are not Asian.
Mm.
And I think a lot of the times is because when I think there's a lot of layers to that, and I won't get into that. But what I'll talk about is I just find that if you're in a Western dominated industry, if you have a really strong accent and you don't enhance your articulation, it can create a ceiling for you
Okay.
because it changes the way people perceive you. And it's not even the accent, it's the articulation.
Right.
I think you have to articulate with more clarity. Whereas I think in Asia, there's a lot of slang.
Yeah.
In Australia, there's a lot of slang.
Yep.
If you met a full-blown Australian, like, oh yeah, g'day mate, how the bloody hell are you? You can't really understand them.
You get intimidated more than trying.
Well, but I think even those Australians who have accents like that, who's like full-blown crazy, right? They get perceived as being lower as well. Whereas people who articulate with more clarity, all of a sudden, people, some reason, perceive them to be more intelligent. It's really interesting. Think about it, right? If you had a full-blown bloke in Australian and you compare that to someone who's fully British, who do you think the world will perceive as being smarter?
The British.
The British person, right?
Yeah.
But why do we perceive them to be smarter in general? When you watch a James Bond movie, why do we all of a sudden perceive them to be so high-class, sophisticated, and intelligent? It's not because of the accent. It's because they articulate their words with a lot of clarity. Yeah. So I think you know, it's one of those things where I think it's really important to always do your best to enhance clarity,
Okay.
regardless of the accent. Because as you enhance your clarity, people understand you better. They won't perceive us as being less than them. And that's why I learned it. I had to go to a speech pathologist. I had to learn how to, because I learned Chinese first.
Yeah.
Then I learned Vietnamese. So I had a really thick accent and kids teased me. So again, I had to learn how to articulate with a lot more clarity.
Right.
And the easiest way to do that, move your mouth more when you talk.
Ah.
Dude, it's as simple as that. If you move your mouth more, you sound clearer regardless of the accent that you have.
Right.
Whereas in Vietnamese, like I could speak Vietnamese now, and if I gave you a bit of Vietnamese, vẫn có thể nói tiếng Việt khỏi mở miệng, right? So I could speak Vietnamese really clearly without even opening my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with English. Because with English, you have to open your mouth more. The language requires more complex mouth movements.
So are most of your students all joining or learning from you to connect in English only or in multiple language? Or are
It's
they
mostly
able to bring
English.
it back and apply it to the multiple language that they speak?
I don't have the expertise to be able to teach them to apply it to different languages. Definitely not. No way. I have to know my lane. But mainly it's in English.
So what's the first thing that you teach when a person comes up to you? Hey man, I want to learn to be more confident and speak in front of a crowd. Please help me. I know I want to be talking with less ums and ahs, and I just want to be more confident. You know, what's the first main thing you teach them on lesson number 1 when they join your course on the first day?
For everyone, it will be really different.
Oh,
because everyone, it's like, what's the first thing you should do at the gym, right? So I think it depends on the person and what they're trying to achieve. Most of the time, it's getting rid of the ums and the ahs.
Right.
Most of the times it's that. And the simple way to get rid of ums and ahs is just to be comfortable with the pause. This right now.
Yeah.
That's it. So every time you feel like saying or ah, just pause.
Oh.
Because if we started umming and ahhing a lot in this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
you'd see in the comment section people complaining about it. People go nuts. People lose their minds over it because what it does is it's playing the wrong key on the piano every single 3 to 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Imagine you're playing a song by Yuruma and every 3 to 4 keys there's an incorrect note.
Yeah.
It would drive you insane.
It'll drive the listener insane
It
as
would.
well.
It would. Yeah, it would drive you insane too. But the reason why people do it, it's because it's become unconscious. And the moment your habits become unconscious, they become invisible to you. So I think it's important to. That's why it's important to record a video of yourself and watch it back.
Yeah. So you the other day uploaded a video of yourself. Like I think was it 10 years ago when you first started speaking?
Yeah.
Did you watch the entire video or did you stop halfway?
I only shared 15 seconds of it. It's a 7-minute video and I can't watch the whole thing. Well, just because it was so like, it just reminds me of an old version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's really awkward to watch.
But then when you watch the video and then you kind of look back at where you are now, how does it make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel proud. I feel really proud. I feel like, oh, damn, it's awesome. It's awesome to see the progress.
Mm-hmm.
And I only show it now because I think a lot of my students think that I've had this my whole life.
Yeah.
I think that's the illusion that they think. They go, oh, wow, he's always been like this. No, dude, when I was 8 years old, I was still learning English and people teased me because I had a really thick accent. Right? So I had a really thick Vietnamese accent when I was young.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And it's practice and practice and practice for you to really improve your pronunciation. Your diction.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, when I'm with certain friends, I sound different. When I'm around Australians, I sound different. And back to that question you said, like being like a chameleon. Malaysians are like chameleons. I think that's great that you do that. I think that's very powerful because if the context changes, you should change your way of communicating, right? Because if you just kept the same type of communication for all contexts, I think you're not being influential, right? Like when you talk to your kids, do you talk to them like an adult?
No,
Well, you talk to them like they're kids.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because they're always like, okay, I'm obviously learning and trying my very best to be, the best parent ever, and then you watch all these reels online that teaches you to, you need to go down to the level and talk like like kids with them, which yes I understand, but sometimes you have some of these reels that say no, you should talk to them like they're adults, and I'm like, so which is which now?
Well, it's all of it. It's all of it. It depends on the context. When they do, well, I don't know. Look, I'm a first-time parent too, but it's like when they do something naughty, maybe that's a good time to talk to them like an adult.
Yeah.
Be serious. But when I'm reading them a children's book, I'm not reading to them like I'm doing in a corporate meeting.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs.
Yeah, exactly. No, you have fun with your voice and you play, right? Mm-hmm. When you're talking to your wife and you've done something wrong, You change the way you talk. You don't go in there, you go, look, I know I've done something wrong. Right? No, you don't. You go, hey, look, I've really stuffed up. I'm sorry. But we change the way we talk, not just professionally. We do it all the times in our everyday lives. So I think it's just important to just recognize again that I think it's really powerful if you can use your voice in many different ways, in many different situations, because that's what helps you become more influential. It's not about just being this one person and just being super rigid all the way through. No, I think flexibility and adaptability is critical. It's emotional intelligence. That's why you see a lot of Malaysians when they move overseas, they sound different.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but whereas if you did that here, that could be frowned upon, right? People go like, oh, what are you doing? You're trying too hard, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's about having that EQ to be able to move between different places and switch up what you're doing.
Right.
And I think people who have good EQ, emotional intelligence, they do that naturally. But again, it's not taught, right?
Yeah.
It's not taught. It's like when I went to America, I lived in America for 5 years. And when I first went to America, I did an event in Texas. And one of my agents was there and they said, Vin, we're going to need you to work on your accent a little bit because it was really hard to understand you.
Because of the Texan Southern accent?
Well, no, because I was really Australian when I went.
Yeah, okay.
So I was full-blown Aussie. I started saying Australian slang on stage.
Yeah.
I started saying, hey, I'll be there in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, People are like, the hell is this guy talking about? So I think, yeah, that you've got to be really conscious of your environment, and then you've got to be able to be like a chameleon.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing if you can do that. Right?
I think when I travel overseas, I tend to be as neutral as possible when it comes to talking English.
Yeah.
Like, not really the accent wise, but like everything has to be, like you mentioned, everything has to be clear.
Yeah.
Like if I'm Malaysian, hey, want to go out and drink or not? It's like, that kind of thing. But when you're in America, hey, would you like to go out for a drink?
Yeah.
I mean, because like, it's not like, hey man, would you like to go out for a drink? Yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, I used to. Then after that, I did a video once with a friend, a YouTube channel. I'm not gonna say where. Then I looked at myself, like, what the heck am I doing? Then I realized that it's okay if I spoke clearly. I didn't need to kind of pull out an accent, although I could, because I know I cringe at that. But and then that made me a little bit more confident going around speaking like how I speak now. Even yes, there is a little bit of a Malaysian accent, but I tend to kind of be a little bit clearer with words, even if I had the Malaysian accent.
But that's what you want to go for.
Yeah.
And look, the reality is, for some people, it's to me, it's just like clothing. You can do whatever you want with your voice. You can wear whatever you want. I know. I've got some Malaysian friends in Australia who now all of a sudden sound British, and people. I don't know why people look at that and hate on them for it. I just think it's all good. Like, it's your voice. You can do whatever you want. If you want to do that, go do it. If you don't want to do that, don't. If you want to put on, like, again, I just think as long as it feels good to you, and as long as it feels authentic to you, just do whatever you want. It's like with me, I can tell you now. So I don't sound like a traditional Australian.
Yeah.
I sound a little more British.
Yeah.
It's because I had British teachers and I liked that sound more. So then I adopted that.
I see.
Right? Whereas some of my Australian friends, they sound way more Aussie than me. They sound full-blown Aussie, Right? I just didn't like that sound, so I followed a different path.
Right. Okay.
And when you do it for long enough, people accept it. It's just, I think these topics are really touchy and people are afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it can feel inauthentic at times.
And a lot of people tend to get judged if they actually...
They do. It's like when I first started trying to sound a little more British, people are like, what are you doing, man? I'm like, I really like the way one of our teacher talks because it's so clear, it's so crisp. So I wanted to learn how to do that. And
you were inspired by that.
I was inspired by that. My vocal teacher was also British, and I thought, oh, this is so cool. And my favorite magician is Darren Brown, who's also British. So I love the way they pronounced words.
Right.
So it's really interesting because when I talk about this with my students, they go, oh no, I think that's inauthentic. I'm like, well, what's authentic to you might be inauthentic to others, but what's inauthentic to you might be authentic to others.
Yeah.
So I think we just live in a world where everyone's so quick to judge and doesn't give people the freedom to just kind of do what
everybody
they
has
want.
a unique mindset, and they think that their unique mindset is the same as the others.
Well, they think their rules should be applied to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way I talk should be the way everyone talks. The way I dress should be the way everyone dresses. The way my beliefs are about this should be everyone's beliefs about this.
Okay.
Whereas, I don't know. I just think as long as people aren't hurting other people, if they talk a little bit different, it's okay. Just let them do what they want.
So most of your students, who are they? Are they okay, a few questions on this.
Yeah.
What kind of students do you get? Do you get high-level executives taking courses from you?
It's all of it.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
And
yeah.
I want to go from one spectrum to the other spectrum. Let's say the
Yeah.
students that are new and maybe young, really like, going to the corporate world or anything that they do, learning communication. What is the one main thing they all lack? And I'm pretty sure one of them is confidence, right?
It's the one thing everyone wants more of.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one thing because I always do a survey before you join my course, and it's what are the top 3 things you want to learn from me?
Yep.
Hands down, number one thing is always confidence.
Okay.
Always confidence. Yeah, it's always.
What about high-level executives? And what do you notice all of them coming to you and asking you to teach them?
Usually it's, I want to humanize myself.
Oh.
It's like as an executive, my people see me as the CEO or they see me as the CFO.
There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect.
Okay.
And I can't connect with people. Like every time I walk into a room, Vin, they talk different. They're having the most fun conversation with their friends in the lunchroom. I walk in, everyone sits a bit straighter. Everyone talks a little more monotone.
Yeah.
Everyone greets me in a certain way.
Yep.
So it's my title has gotten in the way of connection. And one of the main reasons that happens, Jin, is that they've stopped connecting with their people.
Yeah.
They've stopped storytelling. Storytelling is one of the fastest ways to humanize yourself. It's like when you do your shorts.
Yeah.
They feel so human and people connect with it so much because it's storytelling. You can do that verbally too. You can do that through film and you can also do that verbally. And when you share a vulnerable story, when you share a story that, is emotional, it humanizes you.
Right.
Whereas a lot of the times these executives are not sharing stories about themselves. They're not being vulnerable. And every story is a success story. And they tend to speak in commands.
Yeah.
We need A, B, C, D, E, F, G done. And then they're out.
Do you feel that we need more human, like high-level executives, or it depends on the career path that you're going for, or the industry you're in?
So much of that is context-based, brother.
Well,
it depends, right? Because some people lead with an iron fist and do really well business-wise, but then the people hate them. And then some people lead in a very human and beautiful way, but then the businesses aren't as successful.
Yep.
So I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question, but look, I think more human connection is always better.
Yeah.
Right?
You run a company, and I'm pretty sure the way you speak with your teammates are more human.
But I have a very small team, right? It's different. I've got a team of 10, just
That's
over
not a
10
small
people.
team.
No, think about the bigger teams, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even your team's way bigger than mine.
Oh, man.
There are teams in the world that consist of hundreds, if not thousands of people.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to scale that. Whereas within 10 people, like you over lunch, you were telling me about certain team members and them at different parts of their lives, having kids and all this. You still have that personal touch. Whereas I think when you have 100 people, it's really hard. I have no experience in that area. Right? So
do you get like people like that, like bosses or managers or high-level executives with like a team of 5,000 people coming to you and say, how do I connect with my team more?
Yeah.
And it's tough because how are they supposed to even connect with 5,000 people?
Well, you can. You storytell, but on stage. So at the conference, like I coach a couple of CEOs a year, and I'm doing one for a fitness company right now in the US. And I said to him, you've got to share a story that's vulnerable. And you've got to share a story that shows them you're human. As opposed to just talking about the company vision and talking about what's happened in the past, what's happened in the present, what's going to happen in the future. I'm like, why don't you share a couple of personal stories about when you first started this business and how you spray painted bikes orange and chained them to bus stops illegally and got fined, and you and your wife had to save all of your money at the time, put it in, lost it all, and he didn't think to share any of that. And I'm like, if you shared photos of you doing that, photos of humble beginnings, people connect way more to that than a vision statement.
Yeah, it's more. It also can inspire people.
Oh, absolutely, and it's a story because it gives them a glimpse into who you are. If you talked about your children and some of the struggles you're having, and people connect to that. Whereas I think a lot of the times we tend to shy away from that, and then what happens is there's a lack of connection. It's like, I'm sure even on this podcast, right? It's great to talk about all our successes.
Yeah.
But I think people who enjoy these the most love when people are being really human and talking about their failures and shit they've done wrong. And, I think that's I think that's infinitely more valuable. Otherwise, we're just kind of gloating about how good we are. Yeah. Feels like a good segue to talk about something shit.
Yeah. Dang it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anybody have ever asked you this before, but where you are right now, all the ups and downs and whatever you just told me, your journey to where you are you happy?
Oh, wow. Gosh. I feel like if I had to give a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being blissful, I think right now I'm probably around a 7.5 and 8. And that's really high for me. And I think that's really high because my wife and I have been struggling with IVF for the last 5 years. So since we had my son, we've wanted another kid, and we've had 5 miscarriages, and that's been such a painful experience. It's been such a low for my family over the last 5 years because your hopes go up and then they go down. Your hopes go up and then they go down. And to go through that emotional roller coaster, it was probably one of the most challenging things I've ever been through in my life. And I'm certain, I'm talking about from a male perspective, I'm 100%, it's 10 times worse for my wife, if not more. And we're finally pregnant now. We've passed the halfway mark. And it's not even career-based. It's life-based. So I think one of the reasons why my happiness score is really high for me is because I've got a daughter on the way.
Congratulations.
And I know you got 2 girls, man.
Yeah.
I've got a boy and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a girl dad. So it's such a big part of my happiness ranking. Whereas I think, and I think happiness exists on a continuum. It's never a flat 8 and always 8 through the year. I think sometimes you wake up, it's a 9. Sometimes you wake up, it's a 5 and you're panicking about stupid things and you're worrying about money and you're worrying about the business and then you snap out of it one night when you have a good sleep. So I think it exists on a continuum. And right now it's about 7.5 and 8.
Wow. Yeah. I would look at you as a very successful entrepreneur, and judging about how you talk about family and stuff like that, you love your family a lot. How do you balance that between entrepreneurship, or if the term entrepreneurship is too strong of a word, like running your own business and kind of balancing it out between building a strong family?
Well, remember our conversation real quick. The reason you're uncomfortable with the word entrepreneur is because you view it as being like Bill Gates. Yeah. You view it as being Elon Musk. And I told you, I viewed an entrepreneur as being someone who starts a restaurant. Someone who starts a little, like a little stall. So I love it. I love that difference between us because I'm like, everyone's an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Because again, just for a bit of context for those listening, when someone comes up to me and saying you're an entrepreneur, I was like, I didn't raise money. I didn't raise like multi-million-dollar companies or listed them on the stock exchange or whatever.
You have a very high bar for what an entrepreneur is.
Yeah, I know, because it's such a big word. But probably because when the first time I heard the word, I had to probably go to the bookstore, buy a dictionary.
No idea how to spell it.
Entrepreneur. Oh, businessman who's successful. Bro. Oh, okay, I'm not that. Yeah, so I had
a very low bar because my mum and dad started a grocery store, and I was like, entrepreneur. Someone selling things at the Sunday market, entrepreneur. But look, I'll answer your question. I think how do I balance it? I balance it terribly.
Oh,
right, and I think. And I've been balancing it terribly. I've only, I think, in this last year and last 2 years, starting to learn how to do it better. I think there's a really dark side to doing something you love that I don't think people talk about a lot. Because you love it, guess what? It's basically an addiction that people think is a healthy thing. Right? Because we look at entrepreneurs who work 16 hours a day and we praise them because we go, wow, look at that person. They're doing what they love. They're doing what they're passionate about. But I really think behind every entrepreneur is a partner that is sacrificing a lot for that entrepreneur to be doing what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you have kids. And that person in my family is my wife. So for the longest time, because I was saying to your team, I moved to the US back in 2016, 2017, and my son was 2.5 months old. And I said to my wife, do you want to take a risk and go to America? First of all, she's like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. I was away 200 days of the year. She was basically like a single mom. And it pains me, man, because I didn't realize that with more success actually requires more sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then I want more success. Well, guess what? More sacrifice. More success. Okay, more sacrifice. I didn't know that Because on social media, it looks like, oh, more success is free.
Yeah.
Just work hard and you get more success. I didn't see the other side of it. So because I love what I did so much, every time I was working, everyone around me was praising me. And because my wife was so supportive, she was praising me too. But she was actually suffering and hurting inside. She's just such a strong woman that she doesn't like to bring it up. But then now, as we're growing in our marriage, now she opens up and she shares with me. She goes, those years were really hard. Like sometimes I'd go to bed, like she would say to me, I'd go to bed and I'd just cry because you weren't home. And I cry myself to sleep and I wake up and I feel better. And she just goes, I'm fortunate that I have a strong operating system, that a sleep got me from a 1 out of 10 back to a 5 out of 10. But I was operating on a 5 out of 10. But she goes, but you know what? I made that decision with you. So I wouldn't do it differently, but I just want you to know those were the 4 hardest years of my life being married to you. And I didn't see the cost because she was such a strong woman that she hid all of that from me. But now that I see it, I don't want her to do that.
Yeah.
So now I have to go, look, I love what I do, Jen, but I love my family a lot more. This trip to Malaysia, every time we go out, I don't take this with me.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
And
I realized that your replies come in like way past midnight. I'm like,
yeah.
And it's so funny because it clicked to me why it was, because I'm like that too.
Yeah.
Like when I went recently to Japan, I just did not bring my phone out.
Yeah.
But then again, after that, when I look at a bunch, when I come back and I turn on my phone to almost about 200 WhatsApp messages.
Oh,
and
God.
I panicked for about half an hour, and after that, I'm very grateful because my team sorts it out for me. So thank you very much.
Good on you guys.
Yeah, so one of them is my creative team, my editors, and my producer who is behind the panel right now. I'm sorry, but yeah, it felt good though. I'm sorry to say this, but I felt I don't know how to explain this, but when I had my first child, I loved her to bits. But we talked about this before. I did not celebrate Valentine's Day with my wife for 5 years because every time during Valentine's Day, I'll be in San Francisco filming commercials for a tech company that were about to launch their new products. And then after that, I'll be back for about a month or two, and we'll be preparing to go to New York to do the next launch and stuff like that. So I'm not as far away from my family as you are, almost 200 days a year. But when you go away for even like 3 weeks, I remember when I went away for 3 weeks and I came back, I saw my daughter differently. I was like, oh wow, she grew.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and the thing is, even when you're not away, I remember when I was back, I was busy with post-production, editing and stuff like that, and time just flies to the next agenda. And I realized that even though I told myself, no, I'm always home, right? I'm working, I'm always home. Yeah. So I'm around my daughter so she sees me. But I think I wasn't there.
Present.
Yeah, not present. I was there, but not present.
Yeah.
But like this recent trip to Japan, so I've got 2 kids now. And the 2 kids, and I'll be honest, like the second kid had probably less attention from the both of us, my wife and myself, because both of us run this company. But when we went to Japan, both of us just... So, when you go overseas, the first thing, oh no, I need to buy roaming. So my wife did not buy roaming.
Oh, good on her.
So she's like, I told my team that I was not going to subscribe to roaming. And I'm like, I have roaming because, I can't live without roaming. But, do you want to use my Wi-Fi? She's like, no. And she said that this is the first time she felt like she really connected with our youngest the most. And it shows because now the youngest cannot not stick to my wife. And for me, I felt the deeper connection with obviously my wife and kids, and particularly with my kids, because now it's funny though, kids, the minute you spend a bit of time with them, they stick to you like super glue. And it's I don't know if any parent will realize this. It's true. I open the door right now. I have 2 kids running to me and say, yeah, you're home. And they just hug me and stuff. And for me, it's like, oh, I look at my wife, hey, I like this. And then we had a chat about it. And she's like, oh, is this because we really brought them to Disneyland, really gave them full attention, and really spent time with them and really talked to them? during those 10 days, we were able to chit chat with our kids despite their limited, vocabulary of knowledge. We could chit chat with them and be kids, chit chat like really childish things and play with them until they went to sleep, and they got that for 10 days. And now, like going back to work, sometimes I feel guilty, but for me, I also have a responsibility to take care of a company that has about 20 people. So it's but more and more that I do this, and more I turn towards my kids, and I've said this to my team before. I know they think I'm joking, but I said that, hey guys, you kind of need to one day be able to operate without me at all. I'm not gonna go for this presentation. You're gonna do it on your own. I'm not gonna be creative for this. You guys are gonna create on your own, because I feel that you guys need to run on your own, because I might want to one day let this company be running on its own, and you guys grow way bigger than I can possibly run this company. And to be honest, they've done that. They don't realize it, because obviously everyone's an individual, but I look at it from a bird's eye point of view. I started with a team of 4, and now we have a team of about 26. And a lot of people will praise me and say that, oh, Jin, congratulations, you've managed to build a company. So I was like, no. The answer is the team has allowed me to be able to put aside more budget to hire more people to help solve their issues and their workflow and their problems. And that's the only thing I'm doing. Really, I'm not teaching them new things. I'm just solving their problems.
Dude, I think that's beautiful. You're enabling your team to lead, and you're enabling your team to grow.
I think a lot of people who run businesses don't realize that, because I was always under the impression that, you need to be a leader. As a leader, you need to know every single damn thing. Like, you need to know science. You need to know how to launch a rocket to space, so that you have that knowledge to come back and teach your team. I'll be honest, I didn't have that knowledge. Hiring in the next person, I'll be like, oh shit, man, what am I gonna do? I know I want to hire an editor, but like I could just put the pieces together and it looks like a film. And then I hire this other guy who comes in and is like, what are you doing? Oh, 3D. How the hell did you learn how to do that? Oh, I watched a YouTube video. He's looking at me right now and he's laughing because I'm talking about him. And deep down inside, I'm like, yes. This guy's smarter than me, yes. And because like a lot of people tend to, I'm not sure whether you've experienced this before or have ever gotten this advice before. Oh, don't hire people that are smarter than you because they're a threat to you.
Wow, who said that?
There are a lot of people have said,
really?
Yeah. And even when I was working in a working environment, I'm not doing that. I was working in a company.
Right.
Yeah, be careful of those who are smarter than you. They're a threat to you. They'll take your job.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So for me, it's like, why was I taught to survive?
Not thrive.
Or love my job.
Well, it's a scarcity mindset versus an abundant mindset. It seems like you've switched mindsets.
Yeah, because like in order to be better, it's either you be better yourselves or you get the help of others to be better together.
It's I think it's a mixture of the abundant mindset and humility. You've realized now that, it's funny, this conversation, the number of times that you and I sound like old men.
Man.
Yeah, it's just like,
well, no, we're not that old, guys. Come on.
But it's just funny, right? Because you recognize that there are others more brilliant. And I think that's beautiful, man.
I believe in the young mindset.
But there's one thing I wanted to call out for you too. You were talking about the 10 days with your daughter and what that did for them. I wonder if you realize what it did for you. Because the way you spoke about it, dude, you lit up. You lit up so much while you were talking about you spending the 10 days with your kids.
Yeah.
It's funny because we think we're doing it all for them. But man, I could see what it did for you in the 3 minutes you were talking about it, right? Because it gave you so much joy when you were talking about it. And you were just talking about a past experience.
Yeah.
So I think we forget that we always think we're doing it for the kids. But I think you're doing it for you too.
Yeah, we're doing it for us, right? Yeah.
For sure, man. I mean, it lit you up.
Yeah. I knew I was doing something for me that could benefit my kids when I took my health a lot more seriously. Because like I went to the doctors and the doctor said, you're a bit overweight. I was like, no, I'm not overweight. I'm just tall. You know what I mean? It's always that Asian mind, all your Asian aunties and uncles is like, every time you go to Chinese New Year, you'd be like, oh, wow, you put on weight lah. It's okay lah, you're tall. And I'm like, so like, yeah, it's okay, I'm tall. So my doctors told me like, hey, you know what, you kind of need to be around for your kids, so you need to be healthier. And it freaked me out, man. I'm like, oh, okay,
wow.
okay, yeah, yeah. I really went out to pick up cycling, and yeah, you're right. Yes, it's everything I do right now. It's more for the kids. Even my creative process right now, it's all revolved around my kids. I'm not sure if my creativity can attest to that, but everything I think right now, it's very much revolved around the family and the kids. And I think that's and it's not wrong. I don't think it's wrong as a business owner. As a business owner.
Well, there's so many sides to who you are as a person. You're a husband, you're a father, you're a business owner, you're a friend. I don't know if you've got siblings, but you're a brother or a sister. Yeah. You're a son. There are so many facets to us.
I'm not great at all of those though.
No, but nobody is.
Yeah.
And if they say they are, I don't believe them. I don't believe anyone is good at all of it, right? I think we're all struggling our way through life. And on the outside, it can appear as if we're great at all of it. But generally, to be great at one thing, you're kind of sacrificing something else.
Yeah.
Right? And you can only juggle so many balls in the air at the same time, right? So I think the key to being able to do it goodish is schedules.
Schedule.
I think that is. I honestly think in the last 2 years that has saved me from being a really bad father. It's saved me from being a really bad husband. It's saved me from being a really bad son. Because I at the beginning of every month, my wife and I sit down for 5 hours at a cafe, and I go, let's order a slice of cake, let's make it fun, let's get a cup of coffee, let's get some nice food, and then we're going to spend the next 3 to 5 hours scheduling out the next month.
Oh wow!
So I say to her, look. I always say the words that family is number one.
Yeah.
So I go, I have to match my actions with my words. So why don't we do this? Why don't the first thing we schedule in the calendar for the next 4 weeks, let's make it about family. And then I'll put my work around it. Okay? So then we schedule in the weekends. We schedule in certain things after school. So then I go, all right, so we've scheduled in all the things for family.
Yeah.
Now I want to schedule things for my mum and my dad. Because look, at the end of the day, I don't know if you've watched some videos, how many times you're going to see your parents now till you die. It's not that many as you think.
As you grow older,
it's scary,
we forget that our parents are growing older too.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I was living overseas, every time I came back, I was like, whoa, my parents walk a little slower. You know, and I see that kind of, slow aging process.
You know what's funny? No, this is not funny, but you know what's worse? Because my mom lives with me and I see her every day. You realize that even less because if you're away, you realize it.
Yeah, it's invisible.
But for me, it's invisible because to me, right, ever since young, my mom was my superhero. She's a superhero, so you think that she will never grow old. Yeah. And until one day she's like, what? We moved into this new place and I have to climb a flight of stairs to go to my room? What do you think I am, like 30? I'm like, oh, sorry, mom. But the thing is, but that's a different story altogether because she kind of like worked on her self-strength to do that. But yeah, sorry, go on.
No, but that's the thing. I think, so I try to prioritize things first with my wife and my son. Then I go, all right, let's schedule time to go see my parents. Like this trip here to Malaysia we scheduled time in this year to come twice a year to see my wife's dad. So if you don't schedule the important things, work takes up everything.
Oh.
So you know that analogy where they kind of put big rocks in, and then you put little pebbles, and then you put sand, and you put water, right? So if you don't put the big rocks in first, the little pebbles take up the whole jar.
Yeah.
So I've learned now. I'm like, oh shit. Okay. So if genuinely family is my biggest value, and if it's not, it's okay. Again, if it's not your biggest value, no judgment. You do what works for you. But it is one of my biggest ones. So I kind of go, well, what's my family things first? What's things for my mum and dad first? And then now I've got a calendar for a month. I go, okay, now where do I put work? And then I put work all in throughout it.
Right.
And I make sure that work doesn't take away from certain family things. And look, of course, there are times when I have to say to my wife, I'm like, hey, I actually can't make the swimming session. I've got a really important meeting. She's like, that's cool.
Okay.
But then before, my wife and I used to always argue because she used to say things like, oh, you don't spend enough time with us. And when we're waiting for you at home, we're waiting for you forever.
Mm.
And it's because I never schedule anything for family in.
I'm sorry. This hits me.
Yeah.
It's hitting me a little bit. So
Yeah.
I hear this. It hits me a little bit because
What hits you?
that like you're not home enough.
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm sorry.
I work for your wife.
Dang it! It's all a sim. She
Yeah,
planned this entire thing.
Yeah,
She planned this
I'm
entire
employed.
thing.
I'm on her payroll. No,
But
but
it's-
seriously,
it's-
man.
yeah.
If you don't at our age, I think time's moving faster.
Oh, it is.
Physically, I mean, you can look at physics. Time actually moves faster for us when we get older. And at this rate of time moving, if you don't start to prioritize what matters, everything just bleeds away.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to always say to ourselves, we'll only plan trips to Malaysia the month before, the week before, whatever. And guess what? They don't happen. They just don't happen.
Yeah.
When I don't plan that, that time at Sunway Pyramid at the freaking wicked play center. I love that play center.
Yeah.
If I don't schedule that in while we're in the holidays, we just end up walking around a shopping center. We end up just sitting at home watching Netflix, ordering satay. Like I just find that scheduling is the key to everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's a key to a healthy marriage, key to a great father, key to running a great business, key to operating your mind. It's so cool because otherwise, man.
Yeah.
You procrastinate, right?
I think we did it very like what you mentioned. We did it unconsciously. Like our trip to Japan was done 7 months prior.
That's fantastic.
And I had to force my wife to do it. I was like, I need to get. We need this.
Yeah.
Like as a joke, but like after that, she saw the lasting effects. I saw it, and although trust me, dude, it's tough to travel with 2 kids in Japan. My God,
I can only imagine.
It's like it especially in Tokyo. It's like the minute you have more than 3 people, that's it. Like eating in a restaurant it's tough. But Japan's it's still a great place. But scheduling, okay, I'll take that to note.
Well, there's a big thing too, and here's a weird one for you. I'm struggling to do this still, but I'm learning how to do it.
Yeah.
Then you got to schedule time for you.
Oof.
This is the hardest one for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I know that when I schedule time for me, I'm better as a husband, I'm better as a father, and I'm better as a son. Whereas I always schedule family, parents, work, a lot of work, and then me if there's still time. And there's no ever time for me. There's no other time for me because I'll just work, man. That's why my health isn't that great either, right? So that's why all of these, you tend to be the first thing that you sacrifice. I find that to be the case for me. But then counterintuitively, when I started to prioritize myself more, and I only try to prioritize myself maybe 2 or 3 time blocks a week, if I'm lucky, usually it's just 2 and sometimes 1. But I love driving. I loved doing archery. I love doing these different things. So when I just schedule an hour drive for myself where I can put on my favorite podcast, when I just schedule in 2 hours of archery down at the range where I do archery, I come back better. So therefore, my wife, instead of getting a 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10 husband, she gets a 9 out of 10 husband, right? And my son, instead of getting this dad who's tired and exhausted, he gets a dad that's rejuvenated, that's got 8 out of 10 levels of energy. And I'm only starting to learn that now. So now when I schedule, and I'm so reluctant to do this because I still think of myself as being a bad father when I do this, but I have to schedule myself first. And I still do that with so much guilt.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm starting to see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of look at my month and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to protect my time first. I'm going to try to go, all right, this Sunday, I'm going to try to do 3 hours of archery. And then next week, I'll take maybe a Friday afternoon. If my wife gives me the green light, I'll take the car out for a couple of hours and just go for a drive and come home. And on the nights that I do that, I come back, I'm happier. I'm more fun to be around. I'm more funny. I'm more engaged. I'm more present. Otherwise, you know what I do when I don't get that time? I use this. And I will be there with my family, but I will be watching funny TikTok videos and I'll be watching funny Instagram videos because this algorithm freaking knows me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that because I'm starving an escapism. I'm starving it, bro. Like I've worked the whole day. I've done things for the family. And now I'm trying to be with family, but it's really BS time with family. It's not real time with family. It's kind of me just saying, yeah, this is family time at the dinner table. But I'm not even talking to my wife. I'm not even talking to my son. I'm eating food with them looking at my phone. So it's better, bro.
Yeah.
Go for your drive.
Yeah.
I say to my wife, it's better for you to go out, do some shopping, unwind,
Go out with
come
your
back,
friends.
go out with your friends, and I'll take him. And then let me go out, do my thing, come back, and we're better for it. But my brain is wired differently in that I think if I prioritize myself first, I'm a shitty dad, I'm a shitty husband, which has been so hard, Jin. That's been one of my greatest challenges. Like you should prioritize, first of all, controversially, your bike rides. That's the first thing you should prioritize at the beginning of the... Well, because you'll live longer, you'll be around to serve your family a bit longer. You'll feel better and you'll have more energy for your kids, you'll have more energy for your wife.
Yeah.
It's so weird, man.
Man, I should ask my wife to listen to this podcast. She should actually schedule herself first.
Dude, our wives especially.
I don't know why Tim, one of my teammates is like, he's nodding his head. Yeah, that's right.
Dude,
they all know that my wife works so hard.
Dude,
oh my God, everyone's nodding. She works harder than you, Jin.
Right. This is one for the husbands out there.
Yeah.
If you've got kids and you're a husband, one of the greatest things you can do is you can, like, this is what I got so many brownie points on this trip by saying I did this multiple times on this trip, and this is me I'm flaunting here. What I did to my wife was I said to my wife, I said, look, I'll take Xander for the next 6 hours. Why don't you go shop?
Whoa.
Dude, the biggest smile on her face. And I said to because I'm here with my cousins. So I said to my cousin, I said to him, why don't you take your kid, let your wife and my wife go shopping? And they had the best. They came back. When they hugged us a little tighter. When they kissed us with a little more passion.
Yes.
You know, and when they looked at us, they smiled a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's different, man. So I think when people get their own time.
Yes.
They come back better. Yeah. Whereas what happens, I think a lot of the time, and I know we're talking about relationships a lot on this podcast, but it's what tends to happen in the beginning of my marriage it was like my wife had to suffer.
Yep.
So she looked at me and she goes, if I'm suffering, you're suffering too, bitch.
Yep.
I ain't doing this alone.
Yes.
So we both suffer. And then do you know what happens after that? You start to resent each other.
Yeah.
You start to resent each other, right? So we're at the stage now where we're like, you know what? Let's be adults about this.
Yeah.
Let's try
and it's funny. It's funny that you said that. Like me and my wife too, right? We don't always have to go out together. Go out and have your time. Go out with your friends.
Dude.
So go out. Go out. Don't drive if you're drinking. And I remember she went. I think like she went out with her bunch of friends who were mutual friends as well. Just all girls night out. I was like, yeah, you're going to celebrate someone's birthday. Yeah, go out, get drunk. And every time she says, it's almost 9. I'm coming back. I was like, no, don't come back. I've already.
She's a gangster.
Yeah, I was like, I told her like I've already put the kids to sleep, both of them. She's like,
whoa!
I took a picture just for proof.
Respect.
They're both asleep. Don't worry, the air conditioning is at 26 degrees. And she stays out a little bit later. And you're right, she comes back with more stories to tell me about the gossip and. Oh, I can't say this, right? Oh, sorry, she doesn't come back to tell me gossip. She comes back to tell me what a great time she had with her friends drinking. Oh, well, okay. My friends, they don't listen. Okay, maybe, they don't listen to this
We'll
podcast.
talk about that off air.
Yeah, off air. I love this conversation, but I gotta ask some questions that my team has written. Otherwise,
dude, thanks for the marriage counseling. That was great. That was great.
I don't think it's counseling. It's both self-discovery.
Yeah.
And it's like validation. Like you're right. Yes,
dude.
What we're doing is pretty okay. Okay.
We should title this "How to Be a Better Husband."
I know. New business model. We're gonna sell courses too. Okay. I think there's one from. Let's see. Okay. I don't know who this is from, but okay. Okay. This is a question from some of our teammates. Just for context, they watch your films, and when you walked into the office the other day, they were like, what the heck? Yeah. And they were like, this is so random. So one of them actually wrote and said, now you always talk about confidence and communication is a skill that you cultivate rather than one that you naturally have. How long did it take for you to get to the level of skill and confidence that you are at now?
Well, I mean, I started my journey around 2013. So if you look at it as a timeline, it's taken me 10 years to go from where I was to where I am. But I don't think it should have taken 10 years. It should have taken maybe a year and a half.
Yep.
But it's because I didn't know who to learn from. I didn't know how to learn it. Because I did vocal classes not to become a singer. I did vocal classes to learn how to use my voice.
Right.
I didn't do theatre to learn how to become an actor. I did theatre to learn how to use my body. Right. So I did all these different things. So in theatre class, they used to teach me, they go, oh, Vin, you should learn this form of acting. And I'm like, I'm not trying to learn that. I'm just trying to use my body language more. So then I learned all the wrong things. I learned all these different vocal techniques, and I'm like, I actually don't want to learn how to sing like Frank Sinatra. I just want to learn how to talk better.
Okay.
So I went down a lot of the wrong paths. So I think it should have only taken maybe a year and a half, 2 years. It took me 10, and
it's not wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's wrong, to be honest.
Yeah, everybody wants that success story. Yeah, it took me a year.
Yeah. Look, and maybe I'm wrong in saying that. Maybe it needs to take 10 years. However, I just think that, now that I teach it, I see change in my students within 12 to 18 months. If they start to apply the things they learn. Right? So between 12 to 18 months I think is a really realistic time frame to see your self-confidence, your communication style start to evolve and become more effective.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Wow,
Yeah.
this is like, in the hot seat. Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for these questions, team.
Before I get to this question, okay, this one is also about talking to a crowd. So how do you talk to someone or a crowd who does not know who you are while you try to capture their attention and trust on a topic you are speaking to them about?
Start with a story. Because what people want first is connection. And after they feel connected to you, now they care about you enough to listen to what you have to say.
Right.
Whereas if you just start by immediately listing your credibility and talking about, on today's agenda, we're going to talk about A, this, B, this, C. I think we should start with connection, and you can tell a great story in a minute and a half, 2 minutes, then get into the content. So I think you got to start with connection, then go into the content. So a story.
That's an amazing strategy. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple as, right? Like, I'll give you an example. When I get on a call with some of my clients, if I want to build rapport very quickly, I'll give you an example. So I did a call with one of my clients in the US while I was here in Malaysia. I had to stay up late for it, but I was up with them, and I said, hey, before we begin the call, my son's birthday just kind of passed, and I'm in Malaysia right now, and it reminds me, I want to share this with you. When we were naming my son, we're going to name my son Axel. And my father-in-law is obviously Malaysian. So when we were in Malaysia, we said to my father-in-law, hey, what do you think of the name Axel? And my father-in-law has an accent. So he goes, okay, the name Axel. Axel. No, asshole, no, right? And my American clients laughed their asses off. They're like, what the hell? So what did you name your son? I go, no, I named him Xander. I couldn't name an asshole. But now that I know how hard he is as a child, I should have named him asshole. And then they laughed again, and we built this amazing rapport. Now we've got this incredible rapport.
Right.
Then I'm like, hey, thanks for being on the call. I just want to share that with you because, we kind of recently celebrated his birthday. And dude, that call went so well. It took me 48 seconds to tell that story, to build a connection with the people that I've never met.
Right.
And then now on a bed of connection, we get to form a really beautiful relationship. Whereas a lot of the times they kind of just start the call and then go straight into it. So
yeah, hi guys. Okay, let's today's agenda. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Today's
Whereas
agenda.
this is I'm not saying my way is correct, but to me, I would invest 2 minutes into sharing a story, humanizing the shit out of myself, and building a genuine relationship.
Right.
And then after that, we'll talk business.
Okay.
For sure. I can switch gears.
Wow.
Right. Where there are some people who storytell nonstop.
Yeah.
And the people are like, oh my God, get to the point. Stop it already. I don't care about your grandpa. Right? So I think you've got to have that emotional intelligence to be able to
Switch.
use that skill,
Yep.
build the connection, switch gears.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. This one comes from a teammate. Her name is Michelle.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, Che. What has been your most significant failures as an entrepreneur yourself, and what did you learn from them?
Wow. I think one of my I'm thinking of 4 of them. So I'm trying to, which one I'm going to share with Michelle. Michelle, I think one of my greatest failures has been continuing something and continually working on something that has already indicated to me that it's failed. But because I was so romantically in love with the idea of what I was doing, I stayed on a business 2 years longer than I should have.
Okay.
And I did it because I didn't understand the sunk cost fallacy. I thought to myself, I've already spent the last 3 years doing this. I should spend the rest of my life doing that.
Okay.
And I didn't understand the sunk cost fallacy, which is an accounting concept of, no, actually, if you already spent 3 years doing it, you should not spend any more time doing it if it's not aligned with you or if it's not succeeding. So there was a business that I worked on that I stayed on for way too long, and I should have had the courage to leave. And that error has haunted me my whole life, even in relationships. So I've stayed in relationships in the past.
Longer than you should have.
Longer than I should have. I've already fallen out of love with the person. But because of sunk cost fallacy, I've already spent the last 5 years with this person. I probably should just marry them and spend the rest of my life with them.
Yeah.
So I think I still suffer from that. So that's one of my weaknesses, is that once I do something, I fall so deeply and madly in love with it that if I had to pull away from it, it's really difficult for me. Because I'm quite obsessive. And I think that's one of my strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, it's a skill I'm still trying to perfect, is once something is done, I have to learn to step away. Yeah. It haunts me in investing as well. Investing in something that's already failing and then you continually put money into it, right?
Yeah.
So I see that in a fractal manner in many different areas of my life. Yeah.
I can relate to that from a business standpoint. Relationship.
Oh really?
Standpoint.
What the hell? We're like,
before my wife, I kind of dated someone, and I think we dated for about 7 years, and I realized that it wasn't working out because of some reasons that I won't discuss. But then you have the friends coming to you, like, oh, but you guys have been dating for so long.
I know.
It's such a waste, to give up all 7 years. You should just like work it out and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh no. And same with the businesses, like, oh, but you really put in so much money.
I know.
I think in the business, not so, but I have had friends who've had their whole life they put their whole entire life into a business that they were not going to leave until they succeed. They were not ready to admit failure, in the sense where, like, I've told everyone that I was going to succeed, but I can't go to them and tell them that I'm going to fail now. So maybe a little bit of ego, ego that's been put into it. So I've seen that come and go. And actually, there's nothing wrong with walking away from things, actually. That's what I've learned as an individual. If you walk away from something, the bigger applause I'll give to you, because you consciously know yourself.
Yeah.
Again, you're consciously aware of yourself. You're consciously aware of what you're capable of, and you're consciously ready to basically admit defeat.
Yeah.
And move on to the next thing. And for me, it's like that should be the bigger applause than the success.
Well, the only way to win a battle is to retreat, as opposed to dying on the battlefield.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Whereas I used to just die on the battlefield, right? And I wouldn't retreat because I was like, oh, it's not honorable. But I think in the way to make this as valuable as I can for Michelle is I'll say to Michelle, I look at life now, Michelle, is made up of many different chapters. And when I stop doing something, I don't look at it as the end of it. I just go, no, I'm just writing a new chapter.
Yeah.
And in my life now, Jin, I give myself permission to write a new chapter. I used to do keynote speaking full time in America. I allowed myself to walk away from a career at the peak of my career because I didn't look at it as a negative thing. I'm like, that was a peak in a chapter. But that's okay. In my next chapter, I want to teach communication skills online. And when the time comes, and not everybody does the same thing for their entire lives anymore, 5 years, 10 years, if I don't want to do this anymore, if I wake up in the morning and I go, man, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I will give myself permission now, and I'm going to learn to do that new thing.
Right.
And I really love cooking. So I hope at some point I'll have the courage to write a chapter on cooking. Because I love it.
Okay.
Because I love it, man. And I think, I hope that, Michelle, when you get to the end of your life, you would have written a book with many wonderful chapters that had nothing to do with each other. Because I think that is what makes an exciting book.
Yeah.
An exciting book is when you turn the chapter, you're like, shit, I did not see that chapter coming.
Yeah.
Whereas imagine reading a book and every single chapter is exactly the same as chapter 1.
Yeah, related to each other.
And you're rereading the exact same. No, I think worse. What if you were rereading the same chapter over and over and over and over again? So I feel like in that question, Michelle was almost asking, it's like, what's your biggest failure and how do you walk away from them? I think I just changed my mindset to looking at it as, well, life has many wonderful chapters. And there comes a time when this chapter has to end. And I have a blank page. And instead of being scared, realize that you're the author of your own story. You get to hold the pen. You're the one holding it. You can write whatever the hell you want. And you know what the worst case scenario is? If you write chapter 2 and it's shit, it's okay. End chapter 2, start a new chapter 3.
Yeah, this chapter is a little bit shorter than chapter 1.
It's short. It's short. Yeah, it's short because I realized very quickly I did not want to do this. Right? So I think it's really important to realize that. Otherwise, I've seen it before. People get to 65 years old and they've realized they've just written one chapter over and over and over and over, and then they regret.
Right.
They go, damn it, I wish I would have done all these different things.
Here's the segue to this question then. Like, which chapter are you at in your life?
I think I'm in the chapter now where I've become a teacher.
Okay.
So I used to be a performer. So there was a chapter where I was a performer. I was a magician and I was a keynote speaker. So that was my performer chapter. And I've gone from performer now to teacher.
Okay.
So this is a chapter that is very heavily based on teaching. And a chapter where Vin tries to understand the other facets of himself as a human being. Whereas the other chapter, the performance chapter, he was just a performer. He wasn't a great father. He wasn't a great husband. He wasn't a great son. He was away from his parents. He saw them once a year. Whereas in this chapter, he is a teacher now who's trying to understand how to live a more wholesome life and not to value money so much, but rather to value memorable moments. So I'm writing that chapter right now. I'm trying to create memorable moments. I'm trying to, I vlog my family trip. I'm trying to, and when I'm trying to create memories and create experiences.
Yeah.
So
it's always nice to go back to the camera roll and look at what you did the day before. And
we do an audit every year. Every year at the end of the year, dude, one of the most beautiful things we do at the end of the year is my wife and I will sit there and look through the camera roll.
Oh yeah.
We just look through the camera
roll.
roll.
My wife puts it on Insta. Okay, so sometimes when people put it on Insta stories and stuff like that, you think that they're showing the world. But what my wife was doing is because she's using the platform features for her own benefit, but obviously people get to see it. She puts the whole entire trip into a story and then highlights it into her
awesome.
her platform, so that I or herself and myself can go back and just look at it again. So like I remember like prior to our trip, recent trip, we went back to all the trips we went to before years before, and we're like, this is gonna be fun, what is it gonna be like? And then we kind of, and whatever the common thing that we always realized or paid attention to was how our daughters grew,
how different they look,
how different, and how different we look, of course. But that's awesome. I like. Yeah. I realize we always keep going back to talking about families and
this is the chapter of our lives. Where that's where we're spending a lot of our focus.
Yeah, it's
kind of nice. We're in a similar chapter, bro.
I know.
It's nice. Yeah.
It's very, again, I still find it very very amazing that like how we just connected and now we're here doing a podcast. I really appreciate the time, you taking time off, family time to come and talk to me.
Yeah, no worries.
And it's like, well, you're a stone's throw away from my office, so if you're not gonna come, okay, not like, then probably the next time, who knows, but like, thank you. I think we'll come to the end of the show because I feel like that's it for this chapter. Because I feel like the next time you're back here, it's going to be another chapter that we talk about different things and stuff. But thank you so much for really being on the show and enlightening us and the listeners about, what your journey.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Passing on some wisdom to myself and people listening here as well. I'm pretty sure everybody listening today has taken away a lot of things to, the discussion. And I just want to say, keep doing what you're doing, man. I feel like I'm really happy that I stumbled across your account, and I'm really happy to. The thing is, people always look at me as someone who has always been on top of things, and the true answer is no. Trust me, I've been watching your videos to how to become a better person in communicating with my teammates, my clients, and also my family, and also with people. Like, I do not go for events because I'm always afraid to make small talk with the people I meet even though I know who they are. It's more of like, oh, what do I talk to this person? Yeah, I have that. People don't realize that. But I am really afraid to have conversations with people because I'm afraid that I'm not interesting enough to prolong and carry out that conversation. And sometimes you notice that when I keep on talking on and on and on and nonstop, and people are like, ooh, this guy's trying so hard. So yeah, with watching your videos, it allowed me to like, okay, take a step back and kind of like have a balance. So I thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you very, very much. And I think, thank you very much to those listening today as well. And also to the team that woke up extra early for coming to the office to record this episode.
Thanks, guys.
Yay. Thank you very much. Yes. And of course, remember, you can stream us on Spotify. You can stream us on Apple Podcasts. You can stream us on Google Podcasts. You can stream us online on YouTube. Of course, you can follow Vin. Vin, what's your handles for your socials?
Ask Vin. AskVINH.
And that's also across Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
TikTok as well, right?
Yep.
Man. He's huge online, by the way, guys. Go and watch some of his videos. They're really inspiring. They are life lessons. They are life lessons. I watch them and I look at them as life lessons. Number one, I look at it as advice. I look at it as reminders. All in one. Yeah. So that every time you release a video, it's like, okay, cool. I watch. Okay, cool. I'm like, point taken. Noted. Yes. So thank you so much for listening. And Vin, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll speak to you guys next time.